تبارك وتعالى عليهم بنصر وفتح.
أنا سبب تكفير السيوطي هو قوله
الغزالي عندي كافر لقوله بوحدة الوجود.
I like it when people call me Wahhabi. It means I'm on the right track.
We don't know what his aqidah is.
I'm back, Obama, and I'm back because of you arrogant son.
This is Islam.
That if you're not upon the way of the Salaf, I will say in anybody's face, I'm upon the truth and you're upon falsehood.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله رسول الله. ولذلك النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ترك مكة، ومكة أعظم من فلسطين والمسجد الحرام أعظم من المسجد الأقصى.
حقيقة Jew, the flag bearer of shirk apologist.
والنووي الذي مات لا يعرف ربه إمام.
Which is a fancy way of saying
That's not what we believe at all when it comes to aqidah.
The most beautiful aspect of Islam is La ilaha illallah. There is no God except Allah. But imagine if I told you that the true meaning of La ilaha illallah is to hate other Muslims. What if I told you the true meaning of La ilaha illallah is to kill other Muslims and take their property and enslave their women? If I told you that, you'd think that I've gone insane, that I'm being a lunatic. You might even accuse me of being an ISIS terrorist. What may shock you is that historically there have been Muslims who believed the central meaning of La ilaha illallah is to hate and kill Muslims. This was actually the first deviant group in the history of Islam. They were known as the Khawarij. What made the Khawarij so bad is that they declared the companions of the Prophet ﷺ to be disbelievers. They also fought and killed the companions of the Prophet ﷺ due to their extreme fanaticism. What's interesting is that the Prophet ﷺ warned us of the danger of this group. One day, the Prophet ﷺ was distributing gold to different tribes. One man named Dhul Khuwaisira was not happy with the Prophet's distribution, so he told the Prophet ﷺ to fear Allah. Imagine, this is a person who thinks he's more just and more moral than the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet foretold the future of that man. The Prophet ﷺ told us in a Sahih Hadith, among the offspring of this man will be some who will recite the Quran, but the Quran will not reach beyond their throats, meaning they'll recite like parrots and will not understand it nor act on it. And they'll renegade from the religion as an arrow goes through the body of a hunted animal. They'll kill the Muslims but will not disturb the idolaters. If I should live up to their time, I'll kill them as the people of Ad were killed, meaning I'll kill all of them. Now that's a dire warning from the Prophet ﷺ, but who are these people? Scholars have identified them and labeled them the Khawarij. Now fast forward 1400 years. Post October 7th, we've seen the strange rise of the Muslim Zionists, also known as the Madkhalis. These are Muslims who shockingly have again and again sided with Israel against the Palestinians. While the entire Muslim Ummah is shedding tears of grief for Palestine, these Madkhalis are calling for normalization with Israel. While the entire Ummah is boycotting pro-Israel companies like Starbucks and McDonald's.
You know, I love Starbucks today. Starbucks.
No Starbucks, no McDonald's, Allahu Akbar.
That's why many of the ulama
They said boycotting is haram.
These people have declared boycotting Israel is haram.
Boycotting is haram.
But the most offensive claim that they've made is this: if the choice is between Israel and Palestine, Muslims should not prefer Palestinians, and maybe even they should side with Israel. Why? Because the Palestinians don't have the correct aqidah or creed. They've fallen into deviance and even polytheism. Jews, as people of the book, are comparable or perhaps even better than these grave worshipping Palestinian polytheists.
Open shirk. They do shirk, but don't say they did.
So the other Palestinians committing shirk then?
Yeah, a lot of Muslims doing shirk, doing graves. They worship graves openly. There's a graves, Habibi.
About the normalization, the treaty that happened between the UAE and Israel. Treaties and relationships, political relationships with one country to another, this is the responsibility of not us, of the ruler.
How do Palestinians handle betrayal of Saudi and UAE with Israel? There is no betrayal. We're supporting Palestinians all the way. The betrayal is happening from the Palestinians themselves, actually. Sorry.
Hamas is a hizb, is a cult of people that conspire and work along with the Shia, and they work along with Ikhwan al-Muslimin, and they work along with any type of nonsense.
ولذلك النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ترك مكة ومكة أعظم من فلسطين والمسجد الحرام أعظم من المسجد الأقصى.
Now, most of you will immediately be repulsed by all this, and you'll wonder, how could any Muslim have this much animosity towards his fellow Muslims? How could any Muslim side with non-Muslim oppressors against other Muslims? But this is nothing more than the ugly horns of Kharijism, once again stabbing the Ummah in the back. Once again, this is the Khariji mindset that believes that truly accepting La ilaha illallah means hating other Muslims, in this case, the Palestinians. What's the source of this neo-Kharijism we see today? The most shocking thing that I found out while looking for that answer is that it all comes down to just one man. How is that possible? How does one solitary man who lived over 200 years ago radically distort the religious understanding of so many Muslims today? In trying to find the answer to this question, I realized that it's not just Medkhalis who are the problem. Medkhalis are just one group of this man's followers. Maybe the best way to visualize this is like a tree. Let's call this the Salafi tree. To simplify things, let's just understand Salafis as Sunni Muslims who generally follow the school of thought of Imam Ahmed, whether in terms of fiqh or aqidah. Yes, I know that's very simplified, but bear with me. Needless to say, I have a lot of respect for Imam Ahmed, as do all Sunnis. A sub-branch of Salafis adhere closely to the teachings of one particular Hanbali scholar named Ibn Taymiyyah. Most Sunnis and Salafis also respect Ibn Taymiyyah, even if they don't 100% agree with all his opinions. But stemming from this Ibn Taymiyyah branch, this is where our main character comes in. His main beliefs, however, diverge dramatically from those of Ibn Taymiyyah and Imam Ahmed, in particular regarding sectarianism and hatred towards other Muslims. It's out of this branch that you get not only the Medkhalis, other sectarian Salafis, but also ISIS. My goal by the end of this video is to show you why we need to cut off this rotten branch from the rest of the Salafi tree so that we can purify Salafism and the legacies of Imam Ahmed and Ibn Taymiyyah, as well as rid the Ummah as a whole from the cancer of these neo-Khawarij. So who is this mystery man? It's none other than 18th century reformer Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab. Ibn Abdul Wahhab is a very polarizing figure. Many hate him and consider him a Khariji deviant and the forefather of ISIS. Many others consider him Shaykh al-Islam. But what is the truth? Before we go any further, I have a confession to make. I never took hate against Ibn Abdul Wahhab seriously. I had thought it was all an exaggeration. It seemed to me that liberal Muslims use the word Wahhabi to unfairly smear anyone who's a conservative Muslim. If you think drinking and going to the club to dance and have fun with girls is bad, you must be a Wahhabi. It seemed like the people who were most critical of Ibn Abdul Wahhab were themselves these liberal Muslims who were just watering down Islamic beliefs and didn't really care about important things like preserving Islam and preventing bid'ah or blameworthy innovations. So I never took their criticisms very seriously. But then I started noticing something. The Muslims most closely affiliated with the legacy of Ibn Abdul Wahhab today were some of the most sectarian Muslims I knew, including the Madkhalis, ISIS, and other Salafi sectarians. These were the people who focus all their attention on nitpicking Muslims on what are ultimately secondary or tertiary matters of the religion. Meanwhile, they completely ignore the biggest problems that are destroying the aqeedah and faith of Muslims around the world, things like liberalism, feminism, and atheism. They claim that these issues are not really a problem. They claim that the real problem is the fact that Muslims haven't studied the books of Ibn Abdul Wahhab and haven't adopted his position on the correct meaning of Tawheed and Shirk. Rather than joining with other Muslims to fight back against Zionists or Hindutva fascists who are oppressing Muslims around the world, the followers of Ibn Abdul Wahhab prefer to take advantage of the situation and stab Muslims in the back, to mass takfir Muslims and create as much division and internal strife as possible. As we'll see, backstabbing is a recurring pattern with this group. And again, it's not just the Madkhalis who do all this. Madkhalis are only a symptom of a much deeper destructive problem. If we want to get to the root of the problem, we have to go directly to the source, and that is the teachings of Ibn Abdul Wahhab himself.